Hello guys. After I've played some games with the new Brood after the changes, I want to give you guys an update. I'm still not 100% sure about what is like the best way of skilling Brood, of playing Brood, which is like the best items you buy right now. Like all I want to share with you are just like my thoughts after playing like 10 to 15 games of this hero in the new patch. This will probably still change the next weeks after I've played more games. But this is how I see Brood right now and which items I buy right now, how I skill her right now. By the way, if you guys want to use my in-game guide, there's a link in the description down below that you can use, and then you will find the guide in-game as well. So let's first check out the skills. What has changed at the skills? Like we got this new Q ability, Insatiable Hunger, which was our ultimate before. Like the thing with this spell right now is, this is like really good level 1. It gives 70% lifesteal and 35 bonus damage level 1. Like, this is like insane. There's no way an enemy ever kills you if you have this ability activated. So this is kind of like Metamorphosis of Terrorblade with way lower cooldown. So this is why I would recommend skilling this spell level 1, 3 and 5, because if you check the cooldown, like at level 3 of this spell you have 30 seconds cooldown, which means you can use this spell on every wave. For the next level, level 2, we want to get spin webs. Like the thing with webs is, this is like still one of the best abilities with Brood, but we don't really need that many points in webs early on anymore. We got one additional web charge on each level with the patch, so we start with 3 webs instead of 2. The movement speed got a little bit reduced, but I don't think this is that big of a deal. And probably maxing Insatiable Hunger is just better for laning than having more web charges. Then we have the third spell, the new one, Silken Bowler. The thing with this spell is the scaling is not good. Like 1 point in this spell is like really valuable. We have 25% slow and 100 impact damage compared to like 55% slow and 160 impact damage on the last point. Same for the attack bonus that you get. It scales from 5 to 8, which is not a lot. Like the scaling of this spell is pretty bad. The mischance stays the same at every level. The only thing that really changes is the cooldown, but 25 seconds is not a lot of cooldown. So I think this is like a really good value point. Like getting 1 point in this spell early on is really good, but then maxing your spell and putting more points into it is kind of waste in my opinion. So that's why I would recommend getting 1 point at level 4. If you want, you can get this at level 3 as well. At level 6 we take the ultimate, of course. This is still what makes Brood, having spiderlings. And I would advise getting the next 2 or 3 levels of webs after having the spawn spiderlings. The thing is, after we get this spell, we want to start farming a lot of neutral camps, take over big parts of the map, and we need webs for this, right? Like before, we are just like a laning hero. That's why we want to get points into our laning ability, Insatiable Hunger. But after we get the spiderlings, we are more of a farming hero for the next 5 to 10 minutes. And that's why we get some points in webs. Then we max out Insatiable Hunger. Then we get the talent at level 11. Then of course every time we can, we get the ultimate. And then we max out Silken Bowler. I just realized I forgot to put 1 point here. You want to get the third spell, like the 4th point of the spell at level 16. I will probably fix this in the guide after the video. Yeah, then for the talents, I think we always want to go 80 spawn spiderlings damage now. Like the spawn spiderlings ability itself, just so good right now. At level 18, we only have 7 seconds cooldown on a 440 damage nuke, which is insanely strong. Combined with the 80 damage from spawn spiderlings, this is like 520 damage. This is just so good. Like in 7 seconds, you're using this spell twice is more than 1000 damage. This is like a Lina ultimate. Then we have the cooldown reduction talent. I think at level 15 you can go for both talents still, and you get the attack speed if you want to play more of a carry route, but I would advise playing more of a utility brute with like the utility items you see here that we will talk about later. And for those items and to have like more web charges and stuff and like lower cooldown on your shard bowler, I would advise getting the cooldown talent. At level 20, if you can, you want to take the spider's attack damage. Like the thing is, if you're dying in every fight, then you should probably take the health talent. But if you're not dying and you don't think you will die a lot in the next 20 minutes, I would say, then you should probably get like the spider's attack damage talent. Like the damage increase you get with this talent is just insane. It will speed up your farming, it will allow you to push towers so quickly, it will allow you to like 2-shot supports, especially with the new Silken Bowler ability. With the spiders, it's just, the damage of this talent is crazy. So if you're allowed to take this without feeding, then you should probably take this talent. For the level 25, right now I think you take the Insatiable Hunger like every game. For the item builds, I kinda changed up the starting items. We don't really need mangoes anymore. We don't need the Ring of Protection anymore. I think we're just way better buying like some aggressive items. We can either buy Orb of Venom or just some stats for Raveband, which is also pretty solid. This depends on like your laning partner. If you have a really passive laning partner that doesn't offer kill threat, then you should probably buy Raveband components and finish a Raveband instead of this Orb of Venom. But in games where you have like a little bit of kill potential with either like a stun or slow, you should probably build this Orb of Venom, and then you have kill potential after you hit like level 2 or 3 or level 4. For the first items, I would advise building Power Treads right now before Soul Ring. Like this item just is so good with your Insatiable Hunger early on. Like this item allows you to trade, you have movement speed to trade with them, attack speed to trade with them, a little bit more damage, just overall really solid item. For the Soul Ring, I think we want to start building the Soul Ring at the timing that we get the Soul Ring at around our level 6 timing. Like there's no use of having this item when we are like level 3 for example, or level 4. Just because we can't make any use out of this item. We don't have any nukes and we have enough normal mana regen to sustain the Insatiable Hunger by itself most of the time. Then we want to build like Magic Wand. If the enemies have a lot of like spell dealing heroes, spellcasters, pretty good item in team fights. And then there's like the first big change up. Usually I always build Diffusal Blade in most games, but I think Solar Crest is just way better. This item is so good on Brute right now. It costs like 1,200 gold less than before. The stats are like nearly the same. They got nerfed a little bit, of course, because the cost got reduced by this much. But you still have like a movement speed slow, you have attack speed slow, you have additional bonus armor. You can use this item on your allies, which is also really good. Like I think Brute is more of a utility hero right now with the new shard that we got and the Silken Bowler and stuff. So we don't really need that many carry items anymore, in my opinion. This is why I would recommend buying Solar Crest instead of Diffusal Blade. Like the DPS is nearly the same, costs less gold, and just the overall stats are better with the mana regen, more movement speed and stuff. Then we have the normal item like BKB. This item is just good in like every game, so you probably want to pick this up in like 8 out of 10 games at least. Then there's like the shard. I think right now the shard is like the core item for Brute. This item is what allows Brute to be like one of the best team fighters in the game. If you hit like 3 or 4 people in a team fight, they're all just useless. Like they miss 8 out of 10 hits in the fight. So I would say this is like the most important item on Brute, but you want to be careful when you buy this. Like you should not buy this item at the time where enemies are close to BKBs. Like either buy this item before the enemies start building the BKBs, or after their BKBs have worn down, like they are like only at like 7 or 6 seconds, for example. Then you can probably start getting the shard. But when the enemies all just get like a fresh 9-second BKB, then you probably don't want to buy the shard right now. And then there are still like the normal items like Axe and AC, still pretty good, both of them. The next switch up is like I build Hex now instead of Abyssal Blade. Like Hex got buffed, Abyssal Blade got nerfed, so Hex is probably better than Abyssal Blade. I think there are a lot of utility items that you can buy on Brood right now that are pretty good. For example, like Radiance. At first, this doesn't seem like a utility item, but if you really think about this, it gives 70% AoE mischance. This combined with the shard stacks up to 97% mischance in team fights, which is just crazy. Like enemies will never hit any physical attack. Just crazy. Then you can buy items like Shivers or Vlads as like auras and teamfight items. Lotus Orb, pretty good if you want to reflect spells. Halberd, really nice if you're playing against like Ursas, Legion Commanders, Slugs, I don't know, like just heavy hitters, so you can disarm them. Like all the stats on this item are really good for Brood. You have evasion, you have more HP, you have status resistance, you have self HP regen and lifesteal amplification, like really good. Then of course Orchid's still good. Bloodthorn can be good as well in some games. If you need Mage Slayer, then Brood can be played with a Mage Slayer, but I don't think this is like one of the good items. This is like probably more an item that you pick against certain heroes like Timber or the Leshrac maybe. Then of course there's still all the carry items that Brood could buy, for example like Diffusal, Echo Saber, Sanjin Yasha, Eye of Skadi, Abyssal, MKB, Butterfly and Swiftblink. I think all of them are still fine, but the thing with Brood is, before we just had way more damage and way more lifesteal with the Insatiable Hunger when this was an ultimate, but right now this is not an ultimate anymore, so you have way less damage and like I think it's like 40 or 60 less damage and 40 or 60 less lifesteal. I'm not 100% sure about the value right now. Oh wait, I think it's even like 100 damage that we are missing. Yeah, so like it's around 90 or 100 damage that we are missing and around like 40 to 60% lifesteal that we are missing with the spell. So that's like a lot. If you're having a really good game, then of course building carry items can still work, but I think it's just way harder to make this work than before. This is why I would advise building more like utility items. Solar Crest, you can buff up your allies, Shard, so you can make the enemies deal less damage in fights. By items like the AC, the Vlads as auras, by items like Hex to disable enemies, Lotus Orb to reflect spells, Halberd to disarm, I don't know, like just like buy those utility items. Just play Brood more like an offlaner instead of like a carry from the offlane. That's how I see Brood right now. As I said before, I'm still not 100% sure that this is like the best way of playing Brood. This is just how I play Brood right now, and I have quite good success with this build, or like variations of this build. Like some games I still change up like my skills a little bit. Some games I still buy the carry items and stuff, but I would say this is like my general build that I go for right now and works pretty good in most games. I would love to hear your guys' opinion about the new Brood, about all the changes, about the new item builds and playstyles. How do you play the new Brood? Do you have any other approach of playing her? Even if you have like any replay ideas that you guys want me to check out, or just if you need some advice, feel free to leave a comment in the description down below, or join me on Twitch when I'm live. The link is also in the description. Thank you guys, have a nice day. See you.